Experience holiday cheer at Tanger Outlets with savings up to 70% off your favorite brands. From fragrances to accessories and the latest styles, discover the best gifts for everyone on your list. Save big at Nike Factory Store, Michael Kors, Under Armour, Coach, Polo Ralph Lauren, Kate Spade New York, and so many more. Unwrap the best at Tanger Outlets. Hundreds of brands, endless gifting options. Plan your trip at Tanger.com.
It's time for What's Up, Doc, where we spend some time with the healthcare professionals at Mercy Health, and we learn a little bit. And as we pointed out time and time again, they learn not to volunteer for radio interviews.
Short straw loses every time.
Exactly. You know, immediately afterwards, the phone is hung up, and then they go and pursue the person who talked them into doing it.
Therese?
So, yeah, why are you making me do this? All right. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about your diet. Actually, we may learn a lot about your diet and things related to it because our guest is dietitian Jennifer Langner. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing fantastic.
Jennifer, I see RDN, LDN, ACSM-CPT. Fill us in.
Yes. So I am a registered dietitian. I'm licensed in the state of Illinois, and my ACSM CPT is I'm also a certified personal trainer through the American College of Sports Medicine.
Outstanding.
Got a lot of letters behind the name.
I like that.
You earned them all, I'm sure. Jennifer, we heard a y'all in there in your opening sentence.
We're going to have to ask you to run laps for that.
Yeah, where do you hail from?
You know, I'm actually just from here.
Oh, okay.
From Woodstock, actually.
Woodstock famous for using y'all.
I lived there for a year. They do say y'all a lot.
And when you go over there and there's a bunch of you, they'll say all y'all. All y'all.
All y'all, exactly.
All y'all. That's Woodstock. That's Woodstock. How did you get interested in the field that you are in, Jennifer?
You know, when I was going through, high school, sports were a big thing for me. So I wanted to go something into like a sports-related field. Going into college, I ended up getting an injury to my right knee. So sports were off the table. My dance career was off the table. So when I was looking at kind of a career, I wanted to go into a fitness nutrition route. So I actually started with exercise science at Illinois State. And I loved the program so much, and we were talking about nutrition, and they said, this is great that you want to talk to people about nutrition, but unless you're a dietitian, there's really nothing that you can do. So I thought, why not just double major then? So I ended up getting a double major in exercise science and nutrition, and then just fell in love with the field, and the rest is history, and here we are.
That's outstanding.
I'm sure your parents were thrilled with the more schooling.
Well, since I'm paying for it, of course they are.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Speaking as a parent myself, the kid says I'm springing for this. Well, by God, yeah. Graduate school, you go for it.
Chase your dreams.
You go for it. Yeah, once we're past community college, you're kind of on your own there.
Exactly.
Our topic this morning is a diet tailored to your needs. And I find it difficult to believe, Jennifer, that all the TV ads and the TV diets that I see that, one size fits all, that anything could be better than that.
If I could find a diet that one size fits all, my job would be a lot easier, but...
Your job would be over.
That's very true. I wouldn't have a job anymore.
So, what is it? There is no one size fits all because, we'd like to think that we're all individuals. I don't think it stops when it comes to our body.
It does not. I mean, it all depends on different chronic conditions you have. So whether you have, diabetes, kidney disease, you have issues with swallowing and have dysphagia. So, just from a chronic disease standpoint, that's one thing. But also, too, financially. I mean, we all have different financial backgrounds. And, even right now, with just the cost of food in general, we have to adjust our nutrition based off of what we're able to get. So, if everyone's goals are different, and, we have to make sure that we talk to the patient on what's going to work well for them and not just say, here's a meal plan, go follow it. I'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, and stop eating cake. All right, we're good. Yeah.
I wish, but I always even tell my diabetics, you can enjoy cake and cookies, just, don't have all of the cake and cookies every single day.
Yeah, it's knowing where that limit is.
It's pretty good. Rouse mentioned fad diets. We all know the fad diets. They're popular, and as you said, now one diet fits all. The fad diets that go around, have you ever seen one that does work for some? I mean,
while she answers, I got to chug a quart of grapefruit juice here so I can lose 10 pounds by noon.
Most of the fad diets we see, are they rooted in actual science or are most of them malarkey?
For the most part, I feel like they're malarkey.
Okay.
If we look at like the ketogenic diet, right, that's a pretty big diet right now that's around. And it's very beneficial and has been, looked through research that it's good for people who struggle with seizures and have epilepsy. So we know that that diet is specifically tailored to maybe someone like that. But, in terms of like weight loss and all this other stuff, I mean, I have risks of high cholesterol since it's a very high fat, high protein diet. It can stress out the kidneys. So, I wouldn't recommend that for just the general population. And some of the stuff like the most recent one I've heard is olive oil and lemon juice. That's a new one for weight loss.
Yeah, and the apple cider vinegar to wash it down.
Yeah, and I ask people, I say, do you enjoy it? And they say no. I'm like, then don't do it. Unfortunately, if I could just give someone a pill for weight loss or just say drink apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, again, like I said, my job would be a lot easier. But, unfortunately, it's just these gimmicks that may have worked for one person or a few people, but from the research and from science, unfortunately, most of it is malarkey.
Jennifer, does it make your job harder though when somebody has been fed a complete bill of goods on something and then come to you and go, but I read that this is really good for you.
Yeah, I read on Google that
right.
X, Y, and Z. Yeah, unfortunately, I hear that a lot. But you know what though, I'm glad they're still coming to talk to a professional about it because they still have some maybe worry about it or maybe the things they've been trying to do hasn't been working. So that's why they're coming to see me. So, I can educate them on, for weight loss, you don't have to fast for 17 hours to lose weight. For diabetes, you don't have to cut out all carbs to get good control of your blood sugars. You can eat a very well-balanced diet and not miss out on any food groups and still achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
Joe and I have talked about this a bunch of different times. Intermittent fasting. What's your take on that overall concept?
The research is kind of back and forth on it. There is some good research to show that, it can potentially help with weight loss. My fear with the intermittent fasting, and I personally do not recommend it myself, is one, most of the time we're starting that fast at 7 p.m. And what are we eating after 7 p.m.? It's normally the cookies, the cakes, the sweets. Mm-hmm. And then, we're going through this period of now it's time to start eating at noon. We start to overeat that meal. So, it's just a lot of stress on the body to, one, have to go that long without eating. But, our body needs that constant fuel. Just like gas in a car, we need to have that fuel going through our body. And if we're missing out on that for certain periods of time, we're going to feel kind of like garbage down the road. So, it's a good maybe temporary fix to figure out maybe what you want to do with your diet. But sustainability and long term, for the most people, it's not going to work for them.
Jennifer, how does a patient wind up in front of you?
Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's from a referral from their doctor. So, whether a lot of our patients are maybe newly diagnosed diabetic. So, they are just new with all of this. So figuring out what's going to work well for you. Or maybe a patient has expressed they've had struggles with weight loss or maybe even struggles on the flip side with maybe disordered eating and eating disorders. So it really comes from the concern of the patient that the doctor then sends in a referral, and then I have the pleasure of seeing them.
And you mentioned tailor-made to you to the patient, and you've brought a lot of medical conditions up that you take into account. What's communication like between you and the doctor?
For the most part, especially if it's for a newly diagnosed patient for some sort of chronic condition or especially concerns with eating disorders, I really try to stay in constant communication just to let the doctor know these are the things that we've chatted about, and then maybe for them to follow up, or if I think maybe other resources are needed for that patient, I'll make sure that I communicate that with them. Most of the time it's just, after a couple months of follow-up, I'll let the doctors know, hey, things are going well in case you're wondering, and, we can kind of figure out a next step from there.
And I like the fact that, the doctor has the conversation with you and goes, okay, I have a broad overview of this, but I'm going to send you to someone who knows all of the specifics. That would be you then, Jennifer. So the dialogue begins in the doctor's office, but then it is picked up and continued and carried on by you.
Exactly, because we all have our own specialties that we work with. And, doctors, they have to work with so many different patients on so many different things. So to have one person to rely on specifically for nutrition, to just give them all the education on that versus covering a million things in an appointment and it being very overwhelming, could be more beneficial for the patient than anybody else.
Having had some personal experience in this one, my mom passed away from colon cancer about 15 years ago, and I had an appointment with my physician shortly thereafter. We discussed that a little bit. He said, well, you got a family history thing going on here. I want to set you up with one of our dietitians. Unfortunately, it wasn't you, Jennifer. It was someone with Mercy Health, and we want to talk a little bit about maybe getting you converted over into a high-fiber diet that might help with what's going on with the family history.
Sure.
So for 15 years now, I'm at the 30 to 50 grams of fiber per day.
Great.
And have found that to be life-changing and wildly beneficial.
Absolutely. Sometimes just making even some small tweaks in the diet can make people just feel so much better. Sometimes for the most people, they even come through the door, they know what's healthy and what's not. But sometimes just focusing on the fiber, focusing on fruits and vegetables solely, that can make the biggest impact for somebody.
Jennifer, how long are patients, for the lack of a better term, under your tutelage when they sign up for you? Is this once they meet you for the first time, am I chained to you for life, or is there a graduation from it all? How long do you care for patients?
It really is up to the patient on what's going to work well for them. I really like to put the follow-ups in their hands to see what they need. So most of the time they'll come see me for an hour appointment. We'll go through everything, what they're currently eating, medications, exercise habits, all of ththose things. And then, I like to follow up maybe like every month for a few months and see how things are going, and then maybe progress to every 3 months and then every 6 months. Most of the time, patients will follow up with me about 3 or 4 times within the year. But I always tell people, too, I'm readily available, through my chart and just through the phone. So if it's just a quick question on, can you look at this label? Is this a good product? And then I can educate them, and then they go from there.
Have anybody show up, and kind of treating it like a confessional, bless me, Jennifer, for I have sinned. I knocked back a gargantuan sub from Jimmy John's on my way over here.
It's so funny you say that, just because so many of my patients don't like to do food logs. They're like, I don't want you to see what I'm eating. I'm like, well, I'm going to ask you anyway, so what's the difference? And I tell people, too, I'm like, you know what? If you want to know what I had last night for dinner, it was McDonald's, and I enjoyed a shake afterwards. Like, not dietitians aren't perfect either, so...
But that's not what you're knocking back 3 times a day. You're showing the benefits of, once in a while, grab that.
Yeah, there's just certain situations where, unfortunately, you do have to go out and grab food. But it's about making smarter decisions when you are going out and not getting the extra large options, plus fries with extra salt and a large soda. So, you can go out and enjoy yourself just in moderation.
I think when people think dietitian, they just immediately go to weight loss. Riles, you brought up the fiber part of that. What are some other maybe conditions people have that they might not realize a dietitian could fix?
Yeah.
They're looking at themselves and saying, I'm not overweight.
Right,
yeah. And most of the time, honestly, the amount of people I see for weight loss is very low. It's normally for other chronic conditions. So, one would be food allergies. If a patient is struggling with maybe allergies with certain foods, figuring out good alternatives for that, or even just food intolerances, like if they have IBS or any just stomach issues, we'll kind of go through and figure out some food triggers that are happening within the body. Eating disorders are very prominent. And, eating disorders, it is, there needs to be a multidisciplinary team. So there needs to be therapists as well as a doctor, but also the dietitian does play a big role. And it's not about, counting calories or protein or whatever the case may be. It's really about just getting that good relationship with food, which most of the time people don't see a dietitian doing and talking about more of the emotional side with eating. But that's really what we like to focus on for those types of patients. Other things like athletes, too, if they're trying to better their cardiovascular endurance or whatever the case may be, and their nutrition can help with that. And really just, again, other chronic conditions like kidney disease, fatty liver, cancer, diabetes, HIV, AIDS. So all of those things a dietitian can help with.
Jennifer, before we let you go, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you would love to have listeners know about and that you'd be angry with us for not bringing up later on?
No, for one, I appreciate you letting me be on here just to kind of chat a little bit about what I do. And, the biggest thing that I just personally want people to know is, to definitely go to that expert, someone who has gone to school for, this field and, can really tailor their diet and their nutrition to what they want, and not just saying, again, this is a meal plan that you're going to follow every single day. It's this amount of calories, and then I'll see you later. Just make sure, that people can find someone they can talk to and express concerns about their eating or just about their nutrition in general.
I love how you combine the expertise with the actual human understanding that goes along with that. And like Joe was saying, I think people are worried. You go to see a dietitian, you're going to sit down for 45 minutes of scolding.
Yep.
And then you're off to enjoy your carrot strips and cauliflower till next time when I yell
Why
at you
did I
more.
do this?
Yeah, how the hell
How
did this
dare
happen?
you?
The image that you have put forth of yourself and what you do is a highly positive one. I hope people reach out to their physician to be referred to you, because I think the type of attitude and expertise you bring to the table is going to help a lot of people.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And that's my goal. Is I just want people to feel better and feel as though their voices are being heard and that they are getting the support that they need.
Well, we were glad to hear your voice this morning. Jennifer, thanks so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you.
It's Jennifer Langner with Mercy Health. She's a dietitian.